whatever. I want y'all to lose your ever-loving minds. Can you do that, yes or yes? Then please welcome to our game-changing TV panel celebrating Heated Rivalry. Give it up for your moderator, Versha Sharma. Give it up for Versha.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. This is amazing. Can you all hear me okay? Is this working? There we go. There we go. How's everyone doing? So excited. Thank you for being here with us this morning. I was also singing along backstage, so that was a lovely moment. I'm going to get right to it. As you guys know, we're here for a very special conversation. So first, I would like to welcome to the stage writer, director, showrunner, Jacob Tierney. All right, and since this is BookCon, I'm gonna assume your cheers are gonna be even louder for the woman who started this all, New York Times best-selling author, Rachel Reid! Okay, I just have to start there. How does that feel, guys? How does this feel?
Normal.
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
Little underwhelming.
Yeah. I thought there'd be more people.
Yeah. They told us there'd be a crowd.
All right, I am Versha Sharma, a journalist and editor, most recently the editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue for the last 5 years.
Ow!
Thank you. For those of you who I do not already know from social media, I have posted about Heated Rivalry pretty much every day since the show premiered, I think. So I'm a journalist, but I'm also a super fan, right along with all of you. I am honored to be moderating this very special conversation because, as some of you probably know, this is actually the first conversation Jacob and Rachel are doing together publicly since the show premiered.
Never spoken.
Amazing.
Nice to meet you.
We've
It's
never
nice to meet
spoken
you.
before.
I have been dying to interview you both, so I'm so excited. I just want to get a sense, I feel like we already know this from the scream so far, but how many of you had read the books multiple times? Yes. Seen the show multiple times? Yes. Amazing. So I'm going to start with this, Jacob.
Yep.
How many times do you think you've read the books by now?
Great question. Oh, I mean many. I read a part of Long Game every day now. I've definitely read all of the books at least. I want to say 3 times, but that can't be. It must be more than that. And some of them I've read, I would say 6, 7 times in that world.
And Rachel, are you rereading at all while writing Unrivaled?
Rereading? Yeah, I've been rereading mostly like excerpts of the books kind of scattered throughout the series, not like the full book cover to cover.
We do sometimes call each other to be like, do you remember what happened? Do you remember when?
No.
Do you remember,
No, I don't.
Is it Scott who wins the Olympics? Who wins gold? We do things like that.
Well, I'm excited to dive into the discussion that includes questions the audience, you guys submitted. But first, I want to start with a very recent bit of book news that was just announced yesterday, Jacob, that the annotated scripts are coming in October. What can you tell us about that, if anything?
I mean, I can tell you that there will be scripts published. So you get to read the scripts, and they're annotated. Like, there's like fun other stuff with it, and there's believe going to be a wonderful introduction by a certain someone else. And Don't.
It's not Connor.
Don't. He can't write.
He can't write.
He can't read. All he can do is learn Russian.
Yeah. Instantly.
I'm very excited. Obviously, very excited. It'll be. We're trying to make sure that it's something that you guys. I didn't want to just publish nonsense, and so we're trying to make sure that it's something that you guys would like and enjoy and want to keep in your collection should you choose to buy it. There'll be some photographs you've never seen before, stuff like that. So yeah,
I'm excited because the scripts are a delight to read. I'm so glad that people will get to read them.
that's nice.
Rachel, I want to go back briefly to the beginning of your journey as an author. When did you know you wanted to be a writer, and what led you to the romance genre?
I wanted to be a writer since I was a little kid. There's a Canadian author, Gordon Corman, that we were talking about the other day, who got published when he was 13, his first book. And so when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to be published when I'm 13. But I was not.
Instead, you're very disappointing.
Yeah, it was much later. But yeah, I always did. I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen. But yeah, I just needed a creative outlet when I had like young kids. So I just started writing this book idea I had, and it turned into Game Changer, and I'm glad I did it.
So are we. Did you imagine this as a whole series right away, and when did you know that you had to keep going?
Oh no, I thought Game Changer was a standalone for sure, and then I had the idea for Heated Rivalry, and that was going to be like a second standalone, but then my publisher suggested it could be a series, so we kind of like rewrote it so it kind of merged together, and then I got the idea for Tough Guy, and then it just kind of kept going from there. So probably about the time I got the idea from Tough Guy, I was like, okay, this could keep going.
And when did you know that Ilya was going to keep popping up throughout the series, which we love?
That was also Tough Guy, because when I wrote him in, when I wrote him into that book, I was like, well, this is fun. Let's just keep this going. He really takes over a scene, so you have to be a little bit careful because he will take over a book. But so Role Model was a good chance to use him a lot.
Yes, Rachel, one of your greatest qualities, I think, in your writing and in person is your sense of humor, which really comes through with Ilya. And Jacob, I think you've said you love how funny Ilya is. So
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about you falling in love with the books?
Well, the books are part of the reason that I fell in love with Rachel's books in the first place was because of how funny they were. It's not often you see humor in another genre that is not deliberately humorous done that well. I mean, Rachel's writing is really good, but the fun of it, the wit of it was one of the things that really kept me going. And Ilya is kind of a vehicle for a lot of that. Though I think there's lots of good jokes all over the place. And as I come from comedy, and I'm very partial to it. So if there's something fun, on set, I'm like, if you can make me laugh, it'll make it in the show. There's no way I'm not. That I will never cut a joke.
How many of you?
Because I'm cheap.
How many of you have seen Letterkenny? This was one of my favorite things when I found out about the show and then saw how good it was. I was like, Pastor Glenn did this? This is amazing. You contain multitudes. You both do.
Praise.
Has everyone here seen the screenshot of the DM that Rachel sent Jacob to first reach out about
I sent her.
adapting it? Yeah.
I sent her.
Can you guys talk about that first exchange and
Sure.
what were the first conversations after that?
I think you followed me first, and I was like, is this real? And then I was like, I had the blue check mark, so yeah. And then I followed you back, and then you DM me, and it was nice because I don't know. I think I've talked about it a lot. I got diagnosed with Parkinson's 3 or 4 days before that, so it was good timing. Nice to have a little boost. And then we had a Zoom call the next day, I think, or it was close to it.
It was very soon. I was shooting something, so it was. I think it might have been 4 days later. But yeah, I was in a bit of a panic because of that Washington Post article. And I was like, if somebody else options these books, I'm going to be very upset.
Meanwhile, it wasn't even occurring to me that this would happen. I was just like, what? No,
occurring to me,
crazy.
though. Yeah. So and that was really the beginning of it. Yeah.
When did it really feel like the adaptation might become a real thing that was happening?
I think as soon as I had that Zoom call, because you were so everything you laid out, it's exactly the show that you made. And it was like, you were so passionate about it that I was like, I think this is really gonna happen.
I'm glad you thought it. It's, you know, the experience of making this show has been very atypical to television, because when was that? Was that 3 summers ago now?
That was August of 2023, yeah.
So 3 summers ago. That's insane for a TV show to have been optioned, not exist at all, sold, aired in 3 years. That does not happen. Like, even at the fastest pace at which things move. It's like every step of the way with this show, instead of somebody slowing it down, they were like, actually, are you ready tomorrow? And like that, like from everything from shooting to the release, the show was supposed to air in February of this year. And it got pulled up to late November of last year. So everything about it was like, blah, we were like always feeling a bit behind the 8 ball and like playing catch up with it a bit. But I mean, and from enthusiasm, from love, but also, you know, tiring and panicky sometimes.
Well, one of the craziest things is that you were still editing the episodes up until like right they aired, right?
Correct.
And so when were you seeing them for the first time?
I saw the rough cuts, I'm gonna say late September, early October or something?
We were so the stages of editing, so we were picture locked late September. I believe you watched those.
Yeah.
We sold the show mid-October. But they weren't, but like...
You mean like you sold it to HBO?
We sold it to HBO. We sold it to HBO mid-October. But like there was no VFX, no music, no nothing. I mean, it was not mixed.
I said it looked like COVID hockey.
It did, it looked like COVID hockey.
There's no crowd.
You should see episode 5 with nobody cheering.
That kiss with no crowd?
Kip's like, oh, can I get through these empty seats? They're like, yeah, go, let's go.
He still took
Nobody
his time.
applauding.
He still took his fucking time, didn't he? I told him to. I was like, it's a long song. Take your time. But yes, I mean, so we were still finishing. The amount of work we had to do on things like text messages and subtitles and obviously songs and things like that. These shows were, back in the old days, we would call it like a dripping wet print you'd hand to a theater because you'd be like, you'd still be fucking processing the negative. And this is what, the equivalent of like, episode 6 was done 11 days before it aired.
And the pressure by
So when people were like, HBO, you're not doing any press, I was like, they did not have time. They did not even know what they had bought.
That's why it's so bad.
A bunch of horny people at Just be grateful that there's some horny people at HBO, and they were like, yes, please.
HBO.
I wanted to ask a little bit more about the trust between you two that had to form with Jacob adapting such beloved source material. Someone else submitted a question that was pretty close to this. Connor was in town a couple days ago. He had to leave already, guys. Don't get too excited. But he did send a voice note last night that he wanted to play for you guys today.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Jacob. This is Connor's story. First of all, I love you both so much, and I miss you, and I'm excited for the time that I get to see you both again. I wanted to ask you a little question. I wanted to see why you think that each other is a good match for telling this story in both ways. Like, Jacob, what is it about Rachel's writing or storytelling that made it easy for you to connect and then execute actually making a TV show out of it? And Rachel, what do you think it is about Jacob that was successful at bringing that story off the page and actually building it out into a visible world? I love you both so, so much.
That felt religious. Also, I didn't really hear what he said, so.
I was gonna say, could you understand that? I didn't know
I
it was
was
gonna
gonna
play
say,
like the echo.
this mosque is intimidating. It's very intense, that echoey chamber there. I think I got the gist of it. Did you get the gist of it?
I was just enjoying the low rumble.
Yes, yes.
Lovely.
It's basically.
I still find it weird to hear his normal voice.
I know.
It's basically what did you like and appreciate about each other's skills and talents that made you want to work together in this way? Shorthand, that's my shorthand.
Do you want to start?
Okay. Well, I knew you were an excellent filmmaker and very funny. And like, you in that first Zoom call, you showed me how much you like completely got the characters and the story and what was important and everything you wanted to do, including all the sex scenes and like not shying away from that. And like, you wanted to tell a story that was about queer joy and had a happy ending and was, for adults, wasn't gonna like be watered down. And yeah, everything you said about the characters just meant a lot to me. So I knew they were in good hands like right away. I never worried about it. People ask me that all the time. They're like, it must have been hard to like take your hand off the wheel. I was like, it wasn't at all because, and when you started sending me scripts, I was like, these are amazing. So, I never ever felt worried for 1 minute.
That's very nice. I think I've kind of already answered this, but like, what Rachel just said is exactly it. Like, I love these books. I wanted to do queer joy. I wanted to do something fucking horny too. Like, I love that. Like, I was like, we don't get that. I feel like there's been like this weird divorce of sex from art for a while, and like sex that you see on TV and movies is always like sex nobody wants. It's all like violent and unpleasant and coercive, or just something that I'm like, blech.
Yeah.
And what I felt was the reason that I loved Heated Rivalry specifically is because the sex tells the story. And it felt like I could really use that, like, this was not gonna be gratuitous. This was not gonna be, and like, who cares if it is? But like, you have to convince people of stuff like this. So I was like, this sex is architecting this relationship through 10 years. That's how they know each other. Because when they're talking, they're lying or not quite telling the truth. So it's like, it almost doesn't matter. The sex is when they're allowed to be honest with each other and when they're allowed to be vulnerable. So the sex is telling you, it's giving you story information. And it's so funny, as writing season 2, like, it is a reminder as we're working, my co-writer and I, that like, this story, the plot of this story is emotion. The traditional beats of story, while they matter, don't matter anywhere nearly as much as the feeling that you're left with. Because what you want is to keep following the emotional heartbeat of this relationship. And that was always the way that I thought. What I loved about the way Rachel wrote Heated Rivalry was, the way I interpreted it as, the reason it's written this way in these snippets of time is because that's what they remember. Like, what do you remember about the day you were drafted? I remember standing next to Ilya. I remember the way he looked in that suit. I remember seeing him up there with his dad and wondering what his dad was like. And I remember not listening to my mom. And then, boom, what's the next thing you remember? I remember not being able to sleep, and I went to the gym, and there he was. Like, all of their memories, that like, it's told in a language of memory. And sex is such a powerful part of the memory scape of this thing. So I felt like that was a great way to also, and what I promised Rachel, which is a promise I really tried hard to keep, was like, I want to take this seriously. Because I think what a lot of people do with genre in general, but romance in particular, is they try to make it, they're like, this is easy and this is dumb. And we can make this trite. And I was like, I don't want to. I want to dig deeper, because everything in her book, there is the foundation of a very real and understandable queer relationship. And I wanted to be like, I didn't want to shy away from it, and I wanted to dig into it.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
What was behind the decision to go Heated Rivalry first and center the series around Shane and Ilya?
I mean, there's a cynical answer, which is that was the biggest book. That was the big hit. And the second one is that I just liked it the best. Like, and I kind of, it's like, the way I discovered the series was through Heated Rivalry, and it does feel like, because they get their own sequel, their own like dedicated second book, I was like, this is the relationship that has the most life.
They're the stars of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No shade, Troy Barrett.
Yeah.
we love Troy.
We love Troy, but I said no shade.
So when did you tell Rachel, maybe it was when you were giving the scripts to her, sharing the scripts with her, that you were gonna then adapt Game Changer as episode 3 and weave in Scott and Kip?
That was right away.
Yeah, we always, like.
That first Zoom call, you told me that.
Yeah, I always wanted to do that. Game Changer was always gonna be a part of it. Because there is, for that moment to resonate, you need to know the story of Scott and Kip. Like, you need to see it happen to really have the emotional landing place of what happens in episode 5. But I would just also add, part of my, I don't know if you call it a strategy, though that was the word that came to mind. I kept Rachel involved the whole way through. She read drafts of scripts. She saw auditions. You saw cuts. Like, it was like, I never wanted to, well, I knew I recognized I had to do my thing, but I never wanted that. I never wanted to surprise her to watch or read a thing and be like, whoa, what the fuck is this? I wanted to, like, so if there were big decisions, I always talked them through with Rachel the whole way through.
Yeah, and likewise, I didn't want to interfere at all because I don't know how to make films or shows. So it was like, I just trusted, and I appreciated anything that I was kept in the loop on. I felt very respected and part of the process in a way that was appropriate for somebody who doesn't know anything about how this works.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't ask you what lens to use.
Yeah.
Is that changing at all for season 2?
We don't talk anymore.
No.
Yeah. Sad.
I think season 2 is set in space.
And I've said to you,
Sorry,
don't tell me what to do.
All right, Jacob.
I have a hit show. I put it in space now, okay?
You got space money.
See, I got space money. I do not. To be very clear.
A lot of people do assume that your budget for season 2 has drastically
Yeah, they are
increased.
wrong.
That's not true. Manage expectations. You don't need it, though. You
No,
don't need it.
I said this the other day, but I was like, it's especially fun with like new cast that we're negotiating with. It's like, listen, here's the thing. We might make you famous. We've done that. The good folks at Peloton will make you rich. Like that, I can't.
But like,
I invite you to make new friends.
but you get all the seltzer you can drink.
All the seltzer money,
the
all the
seltzer
seltzer no money can buy. You can have all of that.
I did want to
Maybe a
ask.
free Verizon plan. I don't know how it works.
I did want to ask if you have a favorite ad or recent thing that Hudson or Connor have done.
I'm going to say that I really like that these two apps, the Verizon, I guess I'm going to just shill for these companies, but Verizon and Peloton. I like that they're like bespoke ads that are like the Peloton one's very Hudson and the Verizon one was very Connor. And I think like it's such A-list shit. Like I just can't, like that's like Matt Damon stuff, to have like an ad that you star in. And also like, wasn't it watched like 7 million times, the Verizon one? Like who watches a Verizon ad?
Yeah, and what Verizon ad is directed by Nia DaCosta?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I told Connor it was one of the best Verizon ads I've ever seen.
One of them.
One of them.
It's only in my top 5, and I don't really want to discuss where it's placed.
All right, Jacob, you talked a little bit about how the end of episode 5 landed. And again, as I think everyone here knows, it shot to the top of IMDb best rated episodes of all time. As it should. It was also fascinating to me because by that point, the discourse had been a lot about, of course, the explicit sex in the show.
Yeah.
And then episode 5 had no sex scenes. And that was everybody's favorite when it came out. But I'm going to ask you this question from Alexa, who's here. She says her favorite characteristic of
Alexa, ask me a question.
She says her favorite characteristic of your directorial style is your use of music paired with no dialogue to guide the emotion of a scene. And we see it in all 3 of your shows. So how do you choose the music for such pivotal scenes?
Yeah, there's no method. It's just like songs I like. It's just like songs. I mean, there's different ways. It's kind of like casting actors. Like songs do a very specific task, and there are great songs that are not right for a certain moment, and there are songs that I'm like, I don't necessarily love this song, but God, it works well here. It's a bit of alchemy. There's no science to it. But like, I'll Believe in Anything is a song that I adore and that I've always wanted to use in something. Because I feel like it does have that, it builds, it swoops, it crests in a perfect way. And lyrics are really tricky for me because it's really easy to do way too much work with them. Like in the I'm sad land where you're like, I don't need to hear that. Especially if someone's sad, you're like, no thank you. But which is why I love French music so much because you guys don't even know. I know, you don't know. But I'll Believe in Anything. It had that sunshine line, and then that was a very specific threading of an idea present in a song that I added to kind of crystallize an emotion or an idea. But I mean, you know, editing and music, I mean, and this show, it's emotion. So if the emotion works, like if it's doing the thing, and I think there's something a little bit unexpected about having a song like I'll Believe in Anything in that moment, which is also really nice as an ad. But like I really am just picking songs that I like and that I can afford. I'm gonna be very honest. Songs are very expensive. Like
No Rolling Stones.
No, yeah, it was gonna be You Can't Always Get What You Want, but again, lyrically, too on the nose for me. Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is the camera direction in that scene, watching Shane and Ilya react to the kiss. Rachel, how did it feel seeing your writing come to life like that?
I think that that kiss on the ice was something that when I wrote it a million years ago, I was like, wouldn't it be great to see this filmed and brought to life? Like it was just like I didn't think would ever happen, but I was like, it'd be so nice. And then the way it was filmed, and then cut with Shane and Ilya watching, I was just like, it was like the best. It was like the best thing to see. It was really, really great. And I mean, everyone knows how good it is. And then when that song was there, because I also love that song, and yeah, it was a good moment for me. And I knew, when I watched the rough cut of that episode, I was like, this is an incredible episode of television. So I wasn't surprised when it was everybody's favorite, yeah.
I remember feeling that as the show rolled out, and I felt a bit crazy, because I don't know why, but after the first weekend, when episode 1 and 2 hit, and it felt so intense, and then episode 3, I was like, oh, it's more intense. And I remember one of my first thoughts was, I was like, oh God, what will happen when they see episode 5? Because we knew.
We were all on edge. We were like,
knew.
oh my God, oh my God.
Fucking what was gonna happen?
Because the watch
with
parties had started, in the
yeah,
bars and stuff, and
yeah.
we were like, oh man, people are gonna lose their minds.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
And they did. Those are some of the best videos out
Yeah.
there, people's
Yeah, they're
reactions
so
of the
great.
watch parties. I know Hudson and Connor read the books, I think also multiple times. Rachel, you've talked a little bit about conversations that you had with them during filming and prep, and Jacob, of course, you have too. I was curious if
I don't talk to them.
I was curious if you talked to them specifically about the language of romance novels, because I think one of the things that fans love about this adaptation is we've seen things come to life on screen that we've never seen before, but we've read a million times, like somebody's eyes darkening, looking at somebody's lips. And I'm just curious what those conversations were like.
I don't think so. We definitely talked about the books. We talked about romance in general a little bit. We talked about the characters. But no, I think all of that was them and you, probably.
No, I don't talk to them about stuff like that. I don't. I genuinely don't. I don't like to give actors notes that aren't actionable. You know, that's up to me to figure out with my camera and stuff like that. I will happily answer any questions they have, but I think that it's very important to be really granular with performance and stuff like that. I was just like, and I mean, they got it. They had that amazing chemistry, and I was like, yeah, just look at them, and then I'm like, I'll drift down from your mouth to your eyes. I'll take care of that part, because you can't do that. And they both did it. I was like, just keep looking at him. I'm thinking of the water bottle scene. I was just like, just keep staring at his mouth.
I'm always thinking of the water bottle.
We're all thinking about the water scene. I was like, yeah, just keep staring at his mouth. I'm just like, follow the water bottle. Your body will do all the work for you. But I feel like intellectual ideas about genre and trope and stuff like that, that's for me, that's not for them. Because there's no way for them to do that.
I mean, they did it.
Oh, no, I know, but there's no way for that. I think that will that's a confusing note to get. I've gotten notes like that from directors and as an actor, and I don't want it. What I want is faster. That's what I want.
It's
true.
I honestly didn't really talk to either of them that much until after filming was over. It was really over the summer that we got talking, because they were really busy on set, obviously.
We're working very fast.
Yeah.
There's been some important conversations about Shane being autistic. Rachel, how you wrote his character, Jacob, how you then interpreted and directed that, and of course, Hudson's portrayal and how openly he's talked about basing it on real life experiences with his dad. So what were those conversations like?
I loved I did have some nice conversations with Hudson about that, and I really, really appreciate what he brought to the character, because I think, much like in the book, I tried to show it without saying it. He very much did the same thing, and you did the same thing. I think we're all on the same page there. Because I don't think Shane is a character that would be aware or would be looking into it, but I wanted it to be there and be for people that would know. And Hudson knew, and you knew, so it was there on the show, and it made me really happy to see.
Yeah, I just thought of it as Shane. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is Shane. Because autism is such a blanket term for so many. I think, you know, as I think everyone who knows somebody who's autistic is like, it can manifest in so many different ways. And there's some people where it's tiny, some people where it's, you know, where it's a huge part of their lives, some people where it's a very small part of their lives. And I was much more interested in us just talking about what Shane would do in this moment, the way that Shane would react. And you don't have to label that as anything other than this is the way this guy feels in this moment. He loves explicit instruction. He's not great with metaphor. He's not, like, he has a bit of a suspicion with irony, you know, like, which is all things that
You need things
Ilya
spelled out for him.
You just want things spelled out. And which is why I think Ilya loves to tease him, because it genuinely rattles him so much. And it's also really cute and funny and flirty.
That reminds me, Rachel, you have spoken about the moments that you think are when they actually fell in love with each other. Hudson, Connor have spoken about this too. Jacob, I don't know if you've spoken about it. When do you think they fell in love?
I mean, I'm kind of a big baby. I think they fell in love immediately, and they just didn't know it. Tee.
As you do at 17.
Yeah, I mean, really as you do at 17, that you're like, because it's their love, they're obsessed with each other, right? And that obsession is present instantly. And so what is that? You don't know what those feelings are at 17. Is it really love? Like, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but like, it's the obsession that evolves into like that thing of like, I'm never not thinking about this guy. I'm never not thinking about this person. That feels there's something very adolescent about it. It's definitely not a like, we met at 32 energy, you know?
I
you're
guess.
like, I don't want a dog. Like, it's not that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, I feel like, and also I do find that like, because of how smart Rachel's writing is and because of how good they are at acting, I was like, we don't even need to talk about this. Fall in love whenever you want. I don't care.
I want to bring in a question from Mickey in the audience. In a time where a lot of media assumes that people are watching with your phones in your hands, you made a show that rewards full attention and even assumes it from your audience. So can you talk a bit about your decision to reward the audience's attention?
I didn't do it on purpose. I just made a show where I was aware that behavior is everything. Like, again, it's like this thing of like, the things they say are largely to avoid vulnerability, at least for the first few episodes. And so you are, and I mean, God bless, be on your phone, but you're missing out on what matters is their behavior. What matters is the way that they are physically with each other, and that is not stuff that is spoken, and I'm not gonna remind you of it. And thankfully, you know, thankfully both Crave and HBO are places where that kind of TV is still rewarded and valued. But it was never like, I'm not making a co-viewing show. It was just like, again, it was like, I'm making the best show I can, I'm just trying to make the best show I can make. And if I'm making the best show I can make, it's definitely not a show where every 20 minutes they're like, do you remember when we first met? And you're like, holy fuck, yes I do. You met 15 minutes ago. Jesus, stop talking about it. Because that's the trouble with that stuff. Right? Like, remember when we played hockey against each other? You're like, I mean, a million times? Yeah, I do, I get it. It's very frustrating.
Don't forget, we're playing again next week.
Guys, we have a hockey game tomorrow. We do? Yes, we are all professional hockey players. I think you might be a homosexual. What? No. I am not that homosexual you think I am. This is a girl I like. I've always liked a girl.
Rachel, can we talk about Ilya's gaydar and queerdar, I should say, and how he clocks everybody except Scott?
I call him the gay Sherpa.
Yeah.
He's like, come, I will lead you to top of mountain. The mountain is more penis.
I think he just is he has like Sherlock levels of perception, you know, like he just notices everything about everybody, and so he's going to notice that too, also because, you know, he knows. He's got insider information.
But I think you're right. He's also just an empath. Like that's Ilya's thing is he's secretly an empath because I feel like what he's clocking in Ryan, for example, is he's clocking his mental health. He's actually not clocking his queerness.
Yeah.
He's clocking like you're done with this. Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's what he's clocking.
That's
like,
how he
this
helps
isn't,
him.
This isn't worth it. It has nothing to do with his sexuality. In that case.
And he knows like he might be good at coaching a camp with kids. Like it's like he understands a lot about him with barely knowing him. But they did play together for a season.
Yeah, but I
it's
think
not like nothing.
But I think that like what's interesting about that, just to crystallize that one, is that like Ryan's crisis is not his sexuality. Ryan's crisis is his mental health. Right? Like it's not. He's not trouble. He's not conflicted inside about that. He knows he's gay. He's actually kind of out. He doesn't really. That's really not.
I couldn't make that everybody.
No, exactly. No, it would be. But that's what's so interesting to bring Ilya into that story. Is a reminder that what Ilya is actually dinging is like, what is your thing that you're struggling with? Which is not necessarily your sexuality.
Yeah.
Because it is with Troy, but it's also more than that with Troy. I think he clocks, at least.
Well, his dad.
I think
is
it's
another
his drinking.
thing.
100%.
Yeah.
For me, it's his drinking and his dad.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you have problems.
His loneliness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like even showing up at it's a book thing, but when he shows up at Scott's like Scott Hunter night in the first book in the epilogue, it's like that's like he knows Scott needs some support. Like it's not really like anything more than that. It's just like I'm gonna be better than these other guys. So, but still be a jerk to him.
I just thought of my favorite line in Long Game, which is when Scott comes to see them after they're outed, and he's like, "I'd like to join your camp," and Ilya is like, "We already have a boring guy. What will you do?"
I love how much of the dialogue is directly lifted from the books because
I do
Rachel
too.
does, yes. Rachel writes amazing dialogue.
But I also love the original dialogue too. I think it's just a really great marriage of great dialogue. I think I loved like a lot of people's favorite lines are like your original ones or some like mashup of the two things, and I think it's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of both. I mean, I like your dialogue. I think that Rachel writes. I think we have a similar instinct with dialogue, which is like simplicity rules. And so if the scene is written nice and simple, I'm like, well, I'm keeping that because that's what I want.
I strive to sound natural in dialogue. That's like the big thing for me.
Do you have any favorite exchanges or any that you think are underrated?
On the show? Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot.
Or that were adapted from your writing?
The scene that I always think about is that bathroom scene before the Vegas, or after the Vegas Awards, I guess, before the Vegas hotel room. Because that's a scene that in the book is like largely comedic. It's like just kind of setting up a sex scene mostly. It's like I thought it was like a fun scene, but it wasn't like the show makes it like this incredible piece of art that I think is so beautiful and so good. So I think that's my favorite kind of like merging of like what you wrote and what's in the book. I think I don't know every scene. I'm just gonna pick that one.
Jacob, you talked a little bit about your co-writer for season 2.
Yeah, Mike.
What can you tell us about him?
I was about to say he's a Libra. I don't think he is.
How many times
Actually,
has
what the
he
fuck? Oh, I do know this. He's a Leo. He's a very old friend of mine. He's the best. He's such a good writer. He's such a kind man. I'm really excited to have him on board helping out. With the kind of time frame that got crunched the way it did, I needed help, and he's just great at what he does, and he loves the show. He loves the books. He's a fan too, and so he's coming into it with all of everything that you want in somebody here who's just like he loves to talk about these characters. He loves to talk about their relationship, and Long Game is so. It's so long, and it's so gamey, like eating venison. But it's different. It really is different. And the challenge of it is, from an adaptation point of view, is that you're in much more serious territory. It's not. There's a lot of the kind of initial like. There's still lots of flirting and there's lots of sex, but it's like this kind of danger, this kind of hotel room adolescent sex stuff is largely gone. And so it presents really new challenges. And I mean, and again, part of the reason you start with Heated Rivalry as far as adapting goes, because you want to get to the long game. Because the long game is an emotionally sophisticated book that takes this couple seriously. And that's, what I've always said about this show is there are a lot of books, and a lot of them, Game Changers is in Heated Rivalry, and obviously, as I think you guys all know by now, obviously parts of Role Model are gonna be in Long Game. And to the great surprise of absolutely nobody. But Ilya and Shane are the heartbeat of this series, of my show. It's always going to be about Ilya and Shane. That is what is the trajectory that runs through it. And as their world kind of expands, but this is, you're building up to one of my favorite scenes, that has stayed with me of any book I've read in the past 5 to 10 years is their breakup scene. Not when they break up, with that big fight at Christmas, right? That is a hugely
I can't wait to
interesting, sophisticated, smart, which is why I call the book Sex Scenes from a Marriage. Because I'm there's a Bergman-y kind of what do you do after the rush of danger is gone, and now you have to live you have to live in a relationship where you still aren't communicating properly, much as you would like to. You can say you love each other, but as adults know, there's so much more than that to making a successful, to making a relationship a success. And that is what they're learning. And I love that Rachel had the foresight and the courage to write a book about that, because it is so much more interesting. It's why these books are, and please don't get me wrong, I love romance, but that's why this is a cut above, is because it's not just here to titillate, and it's not just here to give you the happy ending or to make you swoon. In Long Game, you're okay, we are here to ground this in something that feels very real. And the same thing with Troy and Harris, right? Because there is I think there's an easy, a kind of a facile way of looking at Role Model as it's very Grumpy Sunshine, it's very Apple Orchard, it can drift into things that you want, but Troy's a really damaged guy. And Troy is quite damaged on the show. I would say we're digging into that even harder. And because that's what's interesting, and that's all there in those books. That's why it's such a fertile playground for me as a creator to have fun with.
So clearly you have a lot that you're digging into. You hinted to Deadline that it might be split into 2 seasons. Is there anything you can tell us or share?
I mean, no, I'll get into a lot of trouble. But I will repeat that it's a lot of book. It's a lot of book, and
Sorry.
So, no, I'm thrilled.
All right, since we're talking about Troy and Harris, we have an audience question from Marley for Rachel. Do you have any ideas of where Troy and Harris will be 10 years in the future? What does their life look like?
Space. I think they're very solid. Well,
Space needs a social media manager.
You're gonna see quite a bit of them in Unrivaled, but that's not 10 years later. There
Depends when you publish it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a joke.
I also have the bravery to write another book about what the Long Game's about, or the stupidity. But so Unrivaled's taking everyone's relationships a little bit further. But one of the reasons I wanted to write it was to continue on with Troy and Harris, because their ending got a little bit it was pretty abrupt, because I knew the Long Game was coming. And I'd like to, take it a little bit further, but it won't be 10 years in the future. But I'm going to try to give you an idea of what their lives are going to be like.
I could read 50 books about the Centaurs as a team. I just
good, because I've got.
Yes, no pressure, Rachel. We love you.
I can write one.
But we're going to do them as verticals, and there will be 50 books, but they will each be 90 seconds long.
Yeah.
Go ahead and say I think this is one of the most unique relationships we've seen, because this is the best romance to book screen adaptation I have ever seen. I think people here agree.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give you your flowers about all of your recent awards that you have been nominated for. Some you've won. The Peabody Awards Major, a Television Academy honoree, GLAAD
Fake
Media
Emmy,
Award.
as I call it.
Yes. Fake Emmys.
Fake Emmy. I'll take it.
It counts. It counts.
It's an EGOT. I don't know.
Yeah.
You won the GLAAD Media Award.
Yeah.
You've got 18 nominations at the Canadian Screen Awards, which are coming up. 2 nominations and 2 wins at the Queer Tees Awards. And then also the Banff World Media Festival's Rocky Awards. You were nominated for that as well. HBO put it on the list, so, you know, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And since we are at BookCon,
Yeah.
do you have any other genres that you are interested in reading? But this is for both of you.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a voracious reader. I like everything. I mean, as has been announced, I mean, I'm doing a show about Alexander the Great it's an adaptation of a book called The Golden Mean by Annabelle Lyon, which is an amazing book, and she has another book called The Sweet Girl that is kind of also picks up where those characters take off as well, Aristotle and his daughter. She's an amazing writer. I love YA. I love all kinds of stuff. I love genre.
I read everything. Yeah. When I'm writing, I tend to read things that aren't romance.
Yeah.
Just like I like to go outside the genre. So, yeah. Right now, I'm reading a bunch of stuff at once. But yeah, I tend to read a lot of. I'm gonna say like not like hard fantasy or hard sci-fi, but stuff that has those elements, or like paranormal elements or urban fantasy, that kind of stuff. I like historical fiction.
Me too.
I like, you know.
I mean, Mary Renault is like to me.
Oh, I love Mary Renault. My
Horny,
favorite.
1960s weirdo, kind of
So good.
closeted lesbian, but like obsessed with gay dude, like writing. I love it.
Her books are incredible.
They're amazing. If you haven't read Mary Renault, read Mary Renault.
I collect her books. I collect every edition I can get of them.
Yeah, that was how I fell in love with Alexander the Great, was because she was like obsessed with him. I would say the best book that I've read, the most memorable book that I've read in the past 5 years was called Human Acts by Han Kang. It was just, she won the Nobel Prize a couple of years ago, a South Korean writer. I was just talking about it yesterday. Anyway, Human Acts, an astounding book about the Korean military coup in the 1980s. Yeah.
I've got a question here from
Maybe not the crowd for
Hudson
that.
Williams.
I don't know who that is.
Question?
I don't know who that is.
I'm going to read it exactly as he sent it.
Oh, don't. I bet it needs work.
Who is this?
Is the
Hudson.
process, is
It's
the
just
process
chaos.
of adapting a book to TV scripts, all caps, to then getting actors, all caps, then filming, all caps, and then editing a weird game of telephone where you adamantly carved the world you saw reading into existence? Or is the finished product a surprisingly new thing where you don't know what the fuck happened along the way?
That is like, I can hear him
I
yelling
know.
through that question, which I
I
like.
think the two things are like being in a group chat where one's like eloquent and lovely, and then the reply is like, "Yeah, dog," and it's just like.
What Hudson's definitely right about is that part of the process is being open to the 3 stages of creation, which is writing, shooting, and cutting. Those are 3 different stages, and you have to let the light in all 3 times, right? Like you have to, a script is not a proper script until it's been read, until people have reacted to it, until the things that you think you put on the page have been responded to, and you're like, is this clear? Have I accomplished the task that I want to accomplish? Because a script is an architectural piece. It's like, it's not the building, it's the plans, right? So it's like, do you get where the basement is? Do you get where the bathroom is? Are we all seeing the same thing? And then you shoot, and there's loads of surprises during production. There's like, oh God, we didn't get that location. Okay, we can't do that. Okay, this, for whatever reason, all kinds of loaded with surprises. And then editing is a very similar, it's where, I mean, we didn't have all the things she said until we were editing. Like, I didn't think about that. So, like, so there's huge things that happen at every stage that deeply affect the whole process. And you have to be open to that and be surprised by it and be able to change with it to find the best thing that happens. What I would add to that is that I quite famously do not shoot a lot. So there's not a ton of extra footage for people to, when people like release the director's cut, this is the director's cut, guys, I swear to God. There's like 4 minutes of stuff you didn't see, and honestly,
Even when I saw
you're not missing
the
much.
days I was on set, there were no like bloopers really. Like it was like,
No, we don't
it'd
have
just be
time for
different
bloopers.
takes of the same thing. Like, it was tight. Yeah.
No, I just saw the blooper reel and I was like, nah, there it is.
Yeah.
As a comedy person, I was like, but I mean, you'll eventually see it, you guys. But yeah, it's
Enjoy it.
It's just not that great. Yeah, but I think that yes, there are definitely 3 stages of creation with filmed entertainment in that way, and they are all different. They are all slightly different. That's part of the fun.
Another audience question from Abigail. What has been the biggest or craziest change in your life since the show came out?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, authors aren't supposed to be like recognized or famous in that way, but you know, I've been, you know, here in New York. I've been in London and Paris and Toronto and Montreal, and people recognize me everywhere, and that is weird. That's weird for an author, and it's wonderful. So that's been, obviously my career has leveled up as basically as high as you can go in a few months. So that's been amazing. I think it's just, but I think on a small level for me, like I always, when people would find out I was a writer, which I didn't tell many people that in my life, you know, they would ask what kind of books I'd write, and I'd be like, oh, romance. And usually that's where the conversation would end because they didn't care past that point. But you know, if they wanted more info, I'd be like, oh, it's like hockey romance and, you know, whatever. And then, but now I can just say I wrote Heated Rivalry, and they know exactly what that is. And it's nice. I don't feel weird about it anymore or embarrassed. It's nice.
Jacob?
I have Gail King's cell phone number.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Helps get reservations, but no, I would never do that. Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think that I would say a similar thing to what Rachel answered is like, it's, you know, it has not even been 6 months since this show aired, and for our, I think our lives and manifested through our careers to have changed this drastically,
Yeah.
to have created something that was, you know, you hope things are hits. I don't think you can predict a thing like this happening because it doesn't happen. So it's a bit batshit.
And I think like before, it's like we were both successful in our fields. We're
absolutely.
about the same age, and it's like, but then it's like this was like such a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to folks like you.
Thank you.
True. True. I always said that I was like, if we can get 10% of the readers who are as passionate about these books as I know they are to watch this show, they will be the perfect evangelists for the show. It's true. Like, they will be, have you heard the good news, you know? And you guys, I don't know, I can't speak to you individually, but you guys absolutely did this and made this thing something that has changed all of our lives.
And thankfully, it was easy for me to promote the show because I knew how good
Yeah.
it was. It was like I didn't have to.
I thought you were gonna make a joke, and you're like, thankfully.
No,
it's easy.
it was easy because it was so good. I didn't have to be like, yeah, it's great. You should totally watch it.
That would be awkward.
I'm not going to.
Quickly, how is this pressure and attention, though, changing how you're writing for season 2 and the next book, if it is?
Oh, it's easy. That's been tricky for sure. I mean, it's 2 things. One is time because I thought the show would air and it'd be a nice, you know, few weeks, and then I'd just get back to writing, but instead it's been like just nonstop whirlwind, which has been amazing. But yeah, I a little bit regret deciding to write a book at the same time. But I am excited about the book. But it is like, I mean, it's definitely.
Yeah.
I'm in a place where the whole world seems to care about what happens next to these characters, or has thoughts about them, so it feels, but it feels very different from previous books, because I thought the long game was pressure, but this feels like way, way bigger, but I'm still determined to try to just stick to what I have always done when I was writing, and just kind of pretend that I'm just writing for me, and I hope other people like it, kind of thing.
And I've told Rachel on behalf of the fandom that we will be very patient. I promise. You take the time that you need.
See you in 15 years.
She's gonna George R.R. Martin, you guys.
Bye.
I am gonna send them
You
to
can
space
finish
because I'm
it.
gonna be waiting so long.
I can't wait for you to show me what happens in Unrivaled.
Okay, I want to end on an earnest note and a note of gratitude. I love this story for so many reasons. I identify with a lot of parts of it. But for those of you who may not know, I also actually reported on gay rights in Russia for a time, including during the 2014 Sochi Olympics. Earlier this week, oh, thanks. Okay, sure. Thank you. Earlier this week, Russian independent media reported that an outlet was fined for publishing a review of Heated Rivalry. So I know that things are bleak here in the US. They are. The attacks on the queer community here, especially trans youth, are not to be tolerated. But I want to say it also feels very lucky to be here in this massive room, to be able to be on stage like this with all of you and talk so freely about the story that we love, which everybody around the world should have the freedom to do. So I just want to say thank you, because thank you for bringing this story into the world with such love, Rachel. Jacob, such care and humor, and for bringing more attention to all of these causes, and for showing us what we should all be working toward globally. As my friend has said before, Rachel Reid's universe, she loves it so much because it's the world as it should be. So another round of applause for Rachel, please, and Jacob. Thank you both.
One more time, BookCon, make some noise for these folks. Also, when you exit today, exit out those doors to your left. Thank you and enjoy your day.